Okay, so today we're going to talk about the ankle basket weave and how to do that tape job. So again, you're going to do your pre-taping questions. So you're going to ask, have you been taped before?
Yep.
Do you have any allergies to tape, sprays, or adhesives?
No.
Nope, perfect. I'm going to check cap refill just by pinching the skin, counting. It's about 2 seconds there, so that's good. And then I'm going to check the skin, just make sure there's no cuts, blisters, abrasions. Looks good. Then you need to tell the person to keep their foot in a dorsiflex position, so keep their toes pointing toward their shin. Then you're going to take the spray bottle and again figure out where your landmarks are. So we know that wherever the calf starts to taper in and goes from widest to narrowest, that change in shape is going to be our starting point of the tape. So that's about as high as I want to spray. And then I know the base of my fifth is my landmark down at the bottom. So I'm just going to spray on the top of the shin, top of the foot, bottom of the foot, and back of the calf. Okay. Then you're going to take your heel and lace pad, and we're going to put one on the top of the joint, and then one right at the back of the Achilles. Try to just smooth it down so hopefully it'll stay. Then take your pro wrap, again, let it roll like the under method, not the over method, because then it'll roll with you. So again, where it starts to taper is right about here. So I want to be just below that because I want this tape to be at that spot. So my pro wrap will be here. And I'm just going to basically be doing circles. Everybody's foot is different, so you'll probably have to just change the angle of the pro wrap depending on each person's foot. Okay. But ideally try to do your best to avoid any like big wrinkles. And you want to try to cover up as much of the foot and the skin on this side. Then we're going to start with proximal anchors. So half is going to be on the skin, half on the pro wrap. And I'm always angling my strip of tape up. Okay, so my end strip's kind of pointing toward the knee. Okay. Just going to readjust this really quick. And then I'm going to overlap by half. I'm going to be doing 2 to 3 proximal anchors. Perfect, so I've got 3 there. Now I'm going to do a distal anchor, so I want that to be right over top of the base of the fifth. So on the other side, I'm palpating it. I'm wrapping underneath the foot, ripping, splaying that foot to kind of smooth out that transverse arch. And then now I'm going to do our stirrups. So that's where I pull from the medial side to the lateral side. So this I want to make sure I get like right on the kind of fatty part of the heel. So try not to get too high into the arch. So use your entire anchor point. Go all the way from the very top of that medial anchor. You're going to come down under that heel, rip it just shy so that you can kind of pull and really force that inversion movement. And then you're going to do the same thing. Basically just over top of the same spot. Rip, pull it. And really apply some tension as you pull up on that lateral side. Perfect. From here now, I'm going to do what we call our horseshoes. So that's pretty much to cover up all of this pro wrap and to provide us a base layer of support. So again, I'm just going to be playing around with my angles. Once you get closer to the ankle crease, you might have to kind of start by going more in a circular direction instead of angling up. And then once you get below and around the malleoluses, you have to start to point toward the feet. Okay. And then it'll go nicely around the Achilles without wrinkling. Once I get to the point that I'm touching the distal anchor, I no longer need to meet my pieces of tape in the middle. So now I'm going to start from one part of the anchor to the other side, and that's like a U strip. Okay, so I'm going to go from one side of my distal anchor to the other side. Just like this. And I'm going to do the exact same thing, just working my way down. Just like that. Until most of it's covered. You're still going to have this one opening gap on the bottom of the foot there. This is okay for now because you might be covering it up with your heel locks. But eventually, if there's still a window, you'll have to cover it. So I'm going to do a heel lock now. So I'm going to start right in the ankle crease in the center. And then I'm going to go down the malleolus. So it's almost as if I was letting the roll of tape hang toward the ground. You're going to come underneath the Achilles. And as you come underneath, you want to find that little bump on the back of the heel. And you want to angle toward there. Then you're going to go over that bump, under and around that heel, back up to the very top of the joint. If you like your angle perfect, then you can continue that strip. Otherwise, rip here and start again. But I think my angle should be okay. So I'm going to go down the malleolus, under the Achilles, angle toward the heel, wrap around the heel, and then back up. Okay, so that was one full heel lock. So I'll show you what a half heel lock would be like. So I'm gonna go down again, under the Achilles, angle toward that heel, wrap around, and I rip. That's one half heel lock. Then I'm gonna do the same thing. Down the malleolus, under the Achilles, around the heel, and back up. That's another half. So you either have to get 4 half heel locks or 2 full heel locks. You can kind of alternate, but as long as the heel has been covered on both sides twice, then you're good. So if we take a look right now, we still have a little bit of a window there where I can see the pro wrap. So I do need to cover that, otherwise it can cause some tape cuts. So I'm just gonna take a small piece and just basically apply it, kind of like a U-strip or like a stirrup, but I'm not really applying any tension. It's really just to cover that spot. So once that's all covered, then I can now close my basket weave, and I'm basically just doing horseshoes. So I'm gonna start at the very top. I'm gonna do the same thing, angling up when I'm around the calf, overlap by half. And then as I get closer to the ankle crease or the malleolus, I have to kind of change the angle depending on the size of the person's foot. Then point toward the toes. And you're always pointing toward the toes. Keep coming. I'm gonna do a couple more, just to really close it all up, make it look a little pretty. Last one. Perfect. So now all the strips of tape that I've previously done are being covered. So now the last thing I'm gonna do is just one more distal ankle. So I'm gonna go in the same spot, making sure I'm over the base of the fifth, coming around, really splaying that foot, laying my strip down. Now I can just conform the tape, make sure it's holding nicely, nothing sticking out. I don't see any windows, so we're good. Then I'm gonna take my cap refill, and now I wanna manually test it. So I'm just going to do my passive inversion to see if it's restricting. It feels good. So now you get them off the table to do their functional movement. So maybe that's running, side shuffling, tuck jumps, whatever it might be, to test that that is a solid ankle tape job.